Welcome to 5 Minute Deck Breakdowns, where today I'm going to break down Twisted Fate and Karma, what I'm calling Marai Control. This is probably the weirdest deck you're going to see on this channel. It's a concept that I had of essentially just trying to use the Marai Greatmother to create random spells in your deck and then pull those spells out with Zap Sprayfin, and as you can tell, Notify is the only other thing in the deck that costs less than 3. So if we do make those spells with Marai Greatmother, Zap will really target those, or he will possibly get you a Nope, which is funny. The deck originated just from the idea I want to try to use Ruin Rex in a weird, different way, and I want to draw a bunch of cards, and how can I make a control deck that seems funny? And this is where it led me. I don't know what's wrong with me, but this is what you get. So we have Twisted Fate and Karma just really presenting a solid control package of, obviously, if we get to the late game, Karma will do her thing, cast all your spells multiple times, generate random spells after I play her as well, and Twisted Fate can be utilized mainly for the blue card in this deck, so we can just continue to draw and get that spell mana so we can cast some crazy things later. But if you have to, obviously, you do have the other option of red and gold. Then if you look at our unit package, we just have some early sustain with the Eye of the Dragon and the Tasty Fey Folk, and then some additional draw with Pool Shark, Coral Creatures, and Shadow Assassin. And then the main combo, like I discussed, is Marai Greatmother, Zap Sprayfin, and then some additional odd tools like the Ruin Rex to deal some damage based on how much we're drawing, which you can see in this deck will be a lot of cards, and the Scattered Pod to find particular things that we're looking for. Obviously, our spells have all fast speed over here, except Deep Meditation at burst speed. But when you are putting random spells into your deck with Marai Greatmother, the Scattered Pod becomes quite hilarious RNG. So this deck is really leaning into the RNG factor. You want to just pull out some crazy things, crazy spells, and just make the most out of it as you go. You're really going to have to think on your feet with this deck. It is not an autopilot deck at all, and there might be a lot of ways to refine it, but we'll talk about that in a second. Up first is really just the Mulligans here, what we're looking to start our games with. And really, we just need to survive early. If we're going into another control deck, that becomes a little bit easier. But if you're going into a mid-range or aggro deck, we're going to need things like Eye of the Dragon, the Coral Creatures, or the Tasty Fey Folk. I would say keep Marai Greatmother as well most games, because she really is the core of the deck. We need those random spells to just generate the nonsense that we're going to pump out. So she's pretty important as well. So I would say she's a keep, and the other ones that I mentioned as well. Concussive Palm is the only other spell on that side that I would consider keeping in the starting hand if we're going against something a little faster, since it will reduce the amount of damage they can do in one turn while also giving us a blocker for the following turn. I think that's really important for this style of deck. The strengths. Surprise factor, just like everything on this channel, mostly just a really weird deck, but one of the strengths here in general is just solid old-fashioned Ionia control with Concussive Palm and Will of Ionia. You just have ways to, remove high target threats. We have consistency in the sense that we have a ton of draw in this deck, so we'll be able to continuously keep our hand extremely fresh, and we'll have plenty of options to deal with different threats, or even just, ideally push our own win condition, which is great. I would say the consistency of the deck in the sense that it's funny for me to say consistency in such an RNG based deck, but the consistency in the sense that it will draw so many cards and you only have so many spells, and Deep Meditation helps you hit those spells easier. You're just going to consistently have what you normally have in the deck, and then on top of that, you're going to have the RNG factor of whatever the hell Marai Greatmother makes in your deck to just pump out some really weird moments in Legends of Runeterra, but quite hilarious moments at that. Flex spots. The whole deck's pretty much a flex spot, because this whole deck is just absolutely wild to me. But you can really just look at it as a shell that we're trying to really maximize Marai Greatmother and Zap Sprayfin. So the flex spots are a lot of the cards around that. This is just the shell that I'm trying to utilize in order to make those two shine the best. So you can really put in whatever other spells you want. I personally don't like a whole lot below 3, because I was running a bunch at first, like Twin Disciplines and a couple other ones, in order to try to get Eye of the Dragon on board a lot, more consistently. But that really screwed up the combo of Zap actually pulling Greatmother's spells. So I would say the flex spots are more on the top side, so you can really change out, your Will of Ionia, your Deep Meditations, if you want to just put in more control on that side. But the biggest flex spots are most likely on the unit side. You can easily take out Coral Creatures, Scattered Pod, Ruin Rex, and load up your spell side a lot more. I actually had that at first, but I found that I was not consistently finding the Greatmother spells. And on top of that, even with the additional spells, I wasn't hitting Eye of the Dragon much more consistently anyway. So mainly, I figured I would just trash that out and stick with the units as far as needing blockers and needing to consistently survive in order to get to the RNG chaos. This one's weird. Be warned. If this helped you, please leave a like, leave a subscription, and we'll catch you next time.